The final title in my Breath of Fire binge. I feel that I've come so far. I really didn't know what to think about this one when I started it up, as I don't think I've ever heard so many conflicting opinions on a game in my life. Breath of Fire 5 Dragon Quarter tore its fanbase apart. Some fans absolutely loved what it did, while others just couldn't seem to forgive its completely different direction and brutal mechanics. But one thing is undeniable, it is different. You know those things you loved about the series? Yep, you're probably not going to see too many of them this time around. Breath of Fire fans coming in with any sort of expectation from the past games prepare to have them thrown out the window. Dragon Quarter is in a league of its own, for better and for worse. So how does the final true Breath of Fire title stack up against the rest of the series? Let's take a look. Many years before the start of the game, humanity was forced to flee from the desolated surface to live underground. As you would expect, life isn't so great below the surface, with air pollution being a major issue for the middle and lower class citizens living at the very depths of society. The setting is dark and the mood is never positive. This is not a good time for humanity. Once again, we are placed into the shoes of Ryu, and for one of the first major changes, Ryu knows how to talk this time. He begins the game as a low-level ranger who, while out on a mission, rebels against his government in order to save the life of Nina, a mysterious child who needs clean air in order to survive. The majority of the story involves the struggles of Ryu, Nina, and Lin as they attempt to reach the world's surface so that Nina can live. So yes, this means that the entire game is underground. There are essentially a load of dungeon-like areas separated by a few small towns with shops and save points along the way. I enjoyed just about everything about the plot and was always interested in finding out more about the world, the characters, and uncovering the many mysteries presented, most notably the mysterious dragon power that Ryu soon obtains. However, the way that the story unfolds is one of Dragon Quarter's most unique features. If you want to see every scene in the game and get a true understanding of the story, you'll have to play through Dragon Quarter multiple times. Introducing the Soul System, which stands for Scenario Overlay System. This is the most defining and certainly the most brutal feature of the game. This mechanic encourages the player to return to previous points of the game or even restart the game completely. Why would anybody want to do this without completing the game, you ask? Great question, son, and the answer to this is the core reason why some fans were completely turned off by the game. The Breath of Fire series is all about Ryu turning into a dragon and unleashing havoc on his enemies. This time around, yeah, you can do that, except for the fact that if you do it too often, it will be game over and you'll have to start all over again. See that number at the top right of the screen? That is the dragon counter. Every time Ryu transforms and unleashes a move in his dragon form, it will go up. Hell, it'll even increase by a little bit with each step that Ryu takes outside of battle. The true challenge of Dragon Quarter is managing this dragon counter and only using it when you absolutely have to. And if you're a first time player and don't really know what you're doing, this is brutal. Personally, once I got the hang of its mechanics and the workings of the Soul System, which took quite a bit of external research, I began to forgive it a little and at times even enjoy it. Yes, it can seem ridiculous at times, but it's something I've never experienced before and I've got to appreciate that. The battle system is yet another feature that is completely different to what you would expect. Each turn you control 3 party members and can spend your AP on either moving or attacking your enemies. Each of your 3 characters plays completely differently. Ryu is your heavy hitter who needs to be close to enemies for most attacks. Lin is your long range attacker who won't need to move as much when she attacks with her gun. And Nina, she can use ranged magic spells for offense or support. These characters have their own strengths and weaknesses and each will excel under different conditions. These characters are also able to equip multiple skills at 3 different levels. Level 1 skills cost 10 AP, level 2 20 AP, and level 3 30 AP. By using different level of skills in a sequence, you can combo them together for more damage. There is always something to think about. Should I spend my AP to move into a good position? Should I save my AP up into the next round? Or should I try to combo my attacks for more damage? This system is very strategic and requires a lot of thought and ended up being one of my favourite things about Dragon Quarter. There are a few things that bugged me a little though, one being that you can use items with no penalty whatsoever, making healing completely free. I'm also in 2 minds about the boss battles. As a first time player, they were either way too difficult or over in a single round if I chose to transform Ryu into a dragon. There was never an in between and this was disappointing. Let's go back to the Soul System. When you do choose to restore from a previous save or restart completely, certain things will carry over. A character's equipment is one of these things, and along with skills is the biggest factor in customizing your characters. 3 weapons, accessories, and armor can be set to a character at a time, and the one that you choose to equip can potentially completely change your playstyle, and this variation is good. For this reason, it's beneficial to vary your equipment so that you're prepared for everything that's thrown at you. The soul system took me quite a while to get used to, with certain things carrying over and other things being lost for good. Items that you place in your locker will carry over, and this makes it that managing your equipment, items, and locker use when using the soul system requires quite a bit of thought. Yep, this sounds confusing just talking about it, and like I said before, I have a love-hate relationship here. The soul system provides a lot of innovation, but it is brutal, and the repetition that it creates can become frustrating. There is no surprise why it divided so many fans of the series. One of the things that has always stood out to me about the earlier Breath of Fire games is the awesome, unique, timeless art style. Dragon Quarter at least still has that going for it. I played this for the first time in 2019, and despite its age, I still think it's beautiful. The soundtrack is worth mentioning too. The dark, depressing setting and feeling of hopelessness is really brought forward by some incredible tracks. 2 other staples of the series is the fishing and the village building system. While fishing was unfortunately canned, at least the village makes an appearance, and the good news is it's better than ever. This time around, it's in the form of an ant colony. Instead of using fairies, you can employ a number of ants and set them to work. The jobs are very similar to what you've seen in the past. Markets, explorers, music stores. The system just seems less clunky this time around. There is also a huge hidden dungeon that can be located, which is perfect for those who really want to test their skills. By now, it's fairly obvious how different Dragon Quarter is to the rest of the series. I loved Breath of Fire 3 and 4, and so did you, so I honestly don't understand why Capcom took such a different direction with this game. At times, Dragon Quarter didn't really feel like a Breath of Fire game. It's missing a lot that I loved from the games of the past. That's not to say that it is the wrong direction. There are loads of things that Dragon Quarter does right. Its presentation in terms of visuals and music was on point. It worked really well with the darker setting and helped present some of the more impactful moments. The gameplay is another standout feature. Every single turn requires some thought, and this strategic gameplay works exceptionally well. However, the double-edged sword here is the soul system. All these years later, and I've still seen nothing like it, so I'll praise it for that. But the fact that it can be so brutal at times prevents the free use of dragon transformations and is required with multiple playthroughs to get the full story can be a little much. Because of this, I wouldn't blame you if it put you off the game entirely, but I can also completely understand why some people liked it so much. Which side of the fence are you on? Dragon Quarter, yay or nay? Let me know in the comments. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for Dragon Quarter Know the Facts coming soon. See you next time.